According to the National Endowment for Financial Education, 70% of lottery winners go bankrupt within a few years of time. So that is a huge number of winners going bankrupt, right? One of the main reason that happens is because they have very little knowledge about money and investing. If a person owns $1 million after tax money and if he invests that money in S&P 500 index fund, then he will get 8% average return year over year. Then that money would be 2.15 million in a span of 10 years. But unfortunately, this was not the case for them. Hey there, this is Lakshmi and welcome to my channel. On this video, I'm going to talk about top 10 financial mistakes we tend to make and how to avoid them. The first thing is not knowing that money loses its value over time. And one of the primary ways that money loses its value is through inflation. Inflation is the rate at which the price for goods and services increase over time. As the inflation rises, the purchasing power of money decreases, meaning that the same amount of money can buy fewer goods and services than before. For example, if you could buy a loaf of bread for $1 last year, this year it might cost $1.10 due to inflation. This means that the value of your dollar has decreased by 10%. Now let's look at the US chart to see how money loses its value. You can see in this chart that the dollar worth of purchasing power is decreasing gradually over time, right? The other mistake we tend to make is not investing. The saving for retirement or failing to save for retirement can leave you struggling financially in your later years. For example, if you don't start investing or saving for your retirement until you are in your 40s or 50s, then you may struggle and you won't have enough time to accumulate those savings to support yourself in the time of retirement. If you start saving early, then it will definitely help you grow your money. For example, if you put $6,000 a year in a Roth IRA or a 401k account, then it will gradually compound and you will be able to get a lump sum of money in your retirement. The third mistake we tend to make quite often is making purchases without thinking them through can lead to regret and unnecessary expenses. For example, if you buy a new smartphone every year, even though your current one is still working perfectly well, you could be spending hundreds of dollars per year that could be put towards your saving or another important expenses. Every time upgrading to a new laptop or watch or any other fancy items or buying even a new car when you get raised, which is also known as lifestyle inflation, will affect your finances in long run, because all these daily small choices you make is going to make a lot of difference in your life. All these small choices you make daily is going to impact you in long run and is going to make a lot of difference in your life. The other mistake we tend to make quite often is not saving for our emergencies. We need to always have emergency fund because emergencies can happen at any time, and not having emergency fund can leave you to vulnerable and unexpected expenses like car repairs, medical bills, or any kind of uncertain expenses. You should always try to save for your emergency fund at least for a month when you start saving, and then gradually increase that amount to 3 to 6 months. For example, if you don't have emergency fund and your car breaks down, you may have to put the repairs on the credit card, which can lead to high interest rate charges and that may take years to pay off. You can put this emergency fund in a high yield savings account and get the interest in those amount too. According to the two new bankrate.com surveys, almost 57% of US adults are unable to afford $1,000 of emergency expense. So, this uncertain $1,000 of unexpected expense is going to hit really hard. The other financial mistake we tend to make is carrying high interest debt. High interest debt like credit card debt can accumulate quickly and be difficult to pay it off. I also had the same problem. I was having almost like more than $20,000 in my credit card, and it took a long time to pay off. It is always important to pay off this debt as soon as possible to avoid paying excessive interest. The other mistake we tend to make is making poor investment decisions. Investing without doing proper research or relying on hot tips can lead to significant losses. For example, if you invest in a company based on a friend's recommendation without doing your own research, you may end up losing a lot of money if the company doesn't perform well as it expected. And you can't even blame your friends for that, right? Because you are the one who invested that money, and you have to do your own due diligence while you are investing that money. I have done a couple of these kind of mistakes in my past, and these mistakes cost me money, and any mistake that cost money is really very expensive and will drag you down for a certain period of time. For example, you invest that savings you made to buy your house and it loses some percentage in the stock market, then you will not be able to buy a house in the time you expected. It is obviously going to hamper your long term planning. The other mistake people tend to make is not having a budget or a financial plan. One of the biggest financial mistakes people make is not having a budget or a financial plan. Without a budget or without tracking your expenses, you may end up spending more than you earn, which can lead to debt and financial problems. For example, if you don't have a budget, you may not realize how much money you are spending on eating out or entertainment, which can quickly add up and leave you with little money left for savings and other important expenses. Another common financial mistake is living beyond your means. Spending more than you earn can lead to credit card debt, missed payments, and ultimately a financial ruin. For example, if you take on too much debt to buy a car or a house that you can't afford, you may end up struggling to make payments, which can damage your credit score and make it harder to get approved for the credit in future. Also, if you have money and you tend to spend that haphazardly in the things you want and don't focus on the plans, long run plans, then it is going to affect in the long term. So it is always better to look at your situation and the dream you want to achieve instead of looking at the things you want to buy and make those impulse decisions in a short amount of time. Another mistake we tend to make is ignoring our credit scores. In country like US, your credit score is an important indicator of your financial health. Failing to monitor and improve this credit score can lead to higher interest rate and missed opportunities. For example, if you have a low credit score, you may not be able to qualify for a mortgage or a car loan, or you may be approved but at a higher interest rate, which can cost you thousands of dollars in additional interest over the life of the loan. The other mistake we tend to make is co-signing the loan for others. Co-signing a loan for someone else can put your credit and finances at risk if the other person defaults the loan. For example, if you co-sign a loan for a family member and they stop making payments, you may be responsible for paying off that loan, which can even damage your credit and your financial position because you are the one who have to pay that debt. So it is always better to stay away from giving loans to your family members or even co-signing the loans for them, because if you give the money, then you are not sure that you are going to get it back, or if you co-sign the loan, maybe you will have to pay that money back. So if you tend to avoid these mistakes and work on your financial health, then you will obviously be able to achieve your goals and meet the needs you want in your life, and you'll also be able to save ample amount of money for retirement as well. If you have any comments or any feedbacks for me, please do comment in my comment section. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel.